This episode of St James's Pod is brought to you by Total Supplements. Visit their website totalsupplements.co to discover their range of nutritionist-tested supplements, gummies, shakes and natural extracts. From popular sports supplements like whey protein, creatine, vitamin tablets and powders to mental health supplements such as nootropics and mushrooms, they've got you totally covered. They also have men's health collection offering testosterone support and beauty supplements to keep you looking like your absolute best. I personally use Total Supplements products and I have been using them from before they came on board to sponsor the podcast, so I'm hugely excited to be partnering with a brand that I know and love. So whether you train hard, work hard or take an active interest in your overall health, use our code St James's Pod, that's STJAMESPOD, for 25% off your entire order. The link's in the description. Support the podcast and visit totalsupplements.co now and tell them St James's Pod sent you. And we're back. Welcome to St James's Pod. This is the Brighton preview. I'm here with Alex and Tom. We're going to go over what we think Eddie's going to do ahead of the game and predict what we think is going to happen in terms of the result. And if we're going to bounce back from the last two games where unfortunately we've been beaten twice in a row for the first time in I don't know how long. So, lads, how are you feeling ahead of this one? Are you feeling positive, or is the Liverpool game still in your heads and still a bit deflated?
Yeah, deflated and
like a Brighton way to start the pod.
I know. All right, okay, fair enough. Brighton got hammered by West Ham. We're gonna fucking do the same. Yeah, no, there is an element of that though. Like, yeah, why can't we, emulate what West Ham have just done down there and come in the end, like deserve that win against Brighton. So yeah, why can't we go and do the same?
That's what I am feeling a bit better. Once I've had a little time to decompress and talk about the Liverpool game, get it out of my system. Like Brighton, I think if Brighton won at the weekend and they were sitting on 9 points after 3 games, I think would be coming into this game a lot more conscious that it's going to be an impossible task almost going down there and getting some points. But as Paige said, West Ham have shown that they have weaknesses, they can be got at, and why can't we? Like the last game should have lit a fire under our belly. We should be fucking raring to go come Saturday. We should be itching to play and right that wrong. So yeah. I just hope Eddie does the right thing with them in training this week and gets them like straight out of the traps and give them a good game.
Do you think there'll be any tactical change up after what happened at the weekend, or do you think we're going to go back to basically what we do best and just try and execute what we do best correctly?
I think it is back to basics, really. Yeah, like you say, when we play the way Eddie has done over the last 18 months that he's been here, is to just do exactly that, like just press well and like be just high energy and clinical, like and just make the most of our opportunities and be defensively solid, because we've been alright. We conceded 3 goals in the last 2 games, and okay, we can chalk a few of those down to just being very well taken goals. Obviously Alvarez's was a very good finish, and we've talked about the Nunez ones as well being good finishes, but still that's 3 goals in 2 games that we've conceded, which we didn't often do last season. So yeah, we've got to be more solid again at the back, and yeah, we got a 0-0 down there last season, and that was purely down to being defensively brilliant in that game, and Nick Pope had a stormer as well. So we have to do exactly that again this time round.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying defensively, because so far they've scored 9 goals already in 3 games. Obviously they played Luton and they played Wolves, so I was saying before we were recording, you'd expect those two teams to be down, especially Luton, obviously, to be down there come the end of the season. So I don't know whether those results flatter them a little bit. Score lines, I'm not sure. I didn't watch them games, so it's hard to know without seeing them. But it is a bit worrying, especially that Botman limped off injured in the last game. So, Alex, do you think we're going to be as defensively capable? I mean, Brighton, definitely a good side. So, are you worried at all defensively?
I am, to be honest, because Botman has been pretty consistent with us since he joined us. And it looks like he's going to miss at least a few weeks. Luckily, I think he's dodged a bad injury, which could keep him out for a few months. So, I guess that's a small positive. But looking at just this weekend, we're going to have to shuffle that defence. I could see, well, I'd imagine Burns going to start at centre-back. I don't know if Jamal the Scrapper is going to be on the bench or on the squad anytime soon after his Amex outside the Mile Castle. But it'll be interesting to see what he does at left back, because we spoke about Target after the Liverpool game not being in fine form when he has came into the squad. Lewis Hall hasn't played a minute yet. He hasn't been on the bench, so I think it would be throwing him in at the deep end. But then again, last season with Chelsea, they had to stop at some point when they had a few injuries, and he looked fantastic coming straight in. So it probably just depends whether how Eddie trusts him or how he's trained, how we're going to start at the back there. But it goes without saying, we are going to be weaker without Botman, and I'd imagine Brighton and De Zerbi will try and take advantage of that and probably attack us down that side and ask us questions. But
it's a big opportunity though for Target and Hall this week to train and try and get that place cemented as theirs, basically, because Burns not like it's not his place now, the left back. It is up in the air, so if he's moving away, it gives one of them two a chance to come in and just take the shirt. So you'd think this week in training, I'd say Lewis Hall, get your fucking boots on, lad. Make it yours.
I know. Well, that's how Burn came into the squad originally. I'm sure Target was first choice at left back, being the natural left back, and then I think he got injured, missed a couple of games. Burn came in and done absolutely fantastic, and hasn't really lost the shirt since. So it just proves to players like Lewis Hall and Target, if you come in and if you have a stormer, which Target, like, he is capable of it. Like, I know, like we say, like Eddie Howe and the new owners, they haven't failed on a signing yet. Target is one of those which is on the fence that, like, if he doesn't show much and gets sold in the next couple of windows, he's probably been one of our only sort of failed players to come in, because he hasn't lived up to his expectation, because he was very good at Villa and he just hasn't quite hit that consistent level here.
He was great when he was on loan. It's since the move's been permanent. You could say that permanent move so far has not been successful, but you would think, like, we've been talking, Tom, about like the fact he's coming in off the cold, and is that the reason why he's not looked as good? He hasn't had a run of games. People are saying he needs a run of games. This week, if he gets the nod, like, he must know now going into this game that this full week he's preparing to start. So his mindset should be, come game day, that he's ready to start.
Exactly that, yeah, and bring, like, the elements of his game that we haven't really seen down that left hand side since Byrne came in to replace him when he got injured last season, which was, bombing on and being an attacking threat on that side of the field and bring that balance, which, you only have to look at Brighton, his opposite number at Brighton. I know he plays a slightly more advanced role in their system, but Estupiñán has been a revelation for them in terms of what he brings going forward and, defensively. And we need that on our left-hand side. And Target has, at times produced that, but just, not in recent times. So, yeah, I agree. He has to, if he gets the nod, he has to really, like, do the whole 9 yards for me.
I don't know if you've just seen that message, but Trips has been named in the PFA Premier League Team of the Year for 22-23.
That's a bit fucking late, isn't it?
I know they were late with the individual player awards, or have they just been announced as well? I've seen they only announced the nominations like a couple of weeks ago for the individual awards, and we didn't get any of our players make the nod. But I'm glad Trips has been recognised for his performances last season.
Yeah, and he'll obviously be starting at right back. So far this season, being sound as you'd expect. The set pieces have been a bit better as well. I feel like he was getting a little bit of stick towards the back end of last season, but I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen Tonali taking any, mixing it up a little bit. And we had that one in the Liverpool game where Shea took it, and then
what was that about?
Yeah.
I was planned that one because you had the fake 3-man Newcastle wall just to the right of their wall. So he was obviously Shaw was going to absolutely blast it, and you have post where it was the keeper's side. But I think it was their job to also get the Liverpool player out of the way, and there was one Liverpool player there, I can't remember who it was, but then it's got rifled straight off him. So I think they sort of might have seen that one coming as soon as Shaw stepped up.
Yeah,
I think you're right about Tonali. Obviously, he took set pieces at Milan, corners and free kicks. So why not mix it up? You know what you're getting with Trippier, I guess.
Yeah, and I think I've heard Trippier even say like it'll be him or Tonali this season who's taking them. So maybe they have been working on it in training, we're just not seeing it yet. But it'd be nice to see against Brighton. In terms of Brighton themselves, I don't know how much of them this season you guys have watched, but where's the immediate dangers, do you think? Obviously they'll be at home. Do you think that the likes of Gross, who obviously scored in the last game, are going to be the ones that we need to be looking out for? Or is like Ferguson up top where you see the main danger?
Oh, they've got
João Pedro as well, who I think he started the first game and then subbed in the next couple of games. But obviously we were linked with him for a while.
They've got danger men in lots of positions, Brighton, which credit to them. Like, obviously we've seen a lot of that last season, but like this season, you know, some of those performers have like stepped up again. I think Mitoma's gonna be a real threat. Again, like, you know, he comes in off that left hand side, and Trippier's gonna have to be right on his game to stop him from, you know, using his pace and directness. The striker wise, they've got quite a few in rotation now, but if it's not Danny Welbeck, then Ferguson or João Pedro, like they're all capable. They all offer something slightly different as well, to keep, you know, people guessing. So obviously mentioned Estepinian as well, like the Solly March on the other side, like they've been bombing forward and causing all sorts of problems for teams with their like directness down the wings. So like there's danger men all over the pitch for Brighton. We've got to, that's why it's by no means an easy game. But I mean, I watched the West Ham game, Brighton West Ham, and obviously West Ham set up exactly how they wanted to, which was just to soak up pressure, hit them on the counter, and that's where the goals came from, when the likes of Estepinian and March had like got forward, and like Jared Bowen had got in behind, and Antonio as well, like got in behind with a bit of pace. So I don't know if Eddie maybe goes a little bit more like that, a little bit more counter-attacking focused, and tries to get our pacey guys like Gordon and Miggy in behind. I mean that might it's not often we do set up that way, so be interesting to see if you guys think we would do that. But it worked for West Ham.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll come out like West Ham did, because they had I think it shows 22% possession or something daft.
Yeah.
I think we'll hope to have a lot more of the ball than that, but I'd be surprised if we had anywhere near 50%. I think we'll let them have the ball a bit more, and I think we probably will try and catch them on the counter. They've got so many attacking options, it's ridiculous. De Zerbi's already alluded to the fact that they're going to need to rotate, and they've rotated a lot already at the start of the season. As you say, João Pedro starting first game, then sort of Welbeck, Ferguson, it's ridiculous, the amount of talent they've got. And Cisco's been injured for a couple of months, so he's started very well, and he ended last season very well too. So it's unfortunate for him that he's missing out.
Adingra as well has come on in the last few games, and again he's looked like another player
They
who's
genuinely just pull names out of a hat, it's appear from nowhere. I say it every time we play them, it's ridiculous. How their scouting system is just outrageous. It really is. They've just got so many top quality players, and even bringing in James Milner, he's got bags of experience. Even if he fills in at centre mid, right back, he's going to put a shift in, even at his ripe old age. So
yeah.
In terms of our setup, I mean, I think we will just start with the standard 4-3-3 because that's what we do. But it'll be interesting to see how we do cope on the right hand side, because Trippier's going to have Mitoma and Estupiñán running at him at times. So you'd think whoever's on that right wing, which is probably going to be Miggy, will need to spend a lot of that in their own half doing the defensive duties, and also having the legs to try and get in behind when Estupiñán is high up the field. So I think Miggy probably is the one who starts again, because he's shown against Liverpool he's dangerous. He gets in the right positions, and I think he's due, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Murphy will come on in this game though, because like you say, Miggy will be doing a lot of work, and obviously Murphy's got the pace towards the end of the game to try and get him behind.
Yeah, I was going to say Tonali is going to also need to fill in if he's playing on the right side of that midfield three, just to cut the wing backs off, and try and when we do recover possession, spin and get the balls down the channels and into the spaces left behind. So big moments for a few players to bounce back from how they were in the Liverpool game, for sure.
Do you think we could see any rotation from Eddie? I know obviously the lads who came on in the last game didn't necessarily cover themselves in glory, but I'm wondering whether it's time to start Wilson. Isak's been quiet in the last couple of games, hasn't really managed to get into the game, more so because he hasn't had a lot of service. But do you think there's a shout to start Wilson in this one?
No, I see where you're coming from. I think he's and again, I think in the previous previews for the games, I've talked about how Wilson wants to get up close and personal and be a bit of a more direct kind of forward in comparison to how Isak wants to line up. In terms of but then Isak's pace is considerably more than Wilson. So if we are going to try and play and catch Brighton out a little bit more, then I would probably want Isak playing off that last man and getting his pace in behind rather than Wilson. But saying that, I don't see why it wouldn't work for Wilson either if we. And I'm not sure what his record's like against Brighton either, Wilson, but I kind of feel like he's got quite a decent record of goal scoring. I'm sure when he has that chat with Antonio on his podcast. Antonio obviously got a goal against Brighton, so he'll probably be giving him a bit of a niggle and being like, yeah, well, it's your turn now, sort of thing. For me, if anybody and we talked about it in the Liverpool game, but like it would be Bruno for me. If we made the call to drop him, like, and shuffled the midfield round, I'd say Anderson. Look, Elliot Anderson had a fantastic game pre-season against Brighton. Obviously got those 2 goals in that game. If we were to reshuffle the midfield around, maybe have Tonali playing in Bruno's role and start Anderson on one side and Big Joe on the other side.
I think the issue is if you've got Joe Linton and Anderson, they're both left-sided. I don't think Anderson really works on the right side of a 3, and Joe Linton definitely doesn't. So
I don't know.
Use both feet though. Like,
he can.
He's
I
just
know,
as
but
good
we've
as
seen him on the right side of a 3, and he didn't look the same. I mean, maybe he just had a bad game.
I guess it's such a small sample size. Like, Eddie will know best, I guess. But I think I doubt we'd see a change in that midfield 3. I know Bruno hasn't played great this season, but I don't think there's enough to drop him, especially in a big game away to Brighton. I just can't see it happening. And I know we mentioned against Liverpool, like, mentality. If you drop him, like, I don't think he'll like that one bit. Like, and I know that's not a reason to keep him on the pitch if he's playing bad. I just can't see it happening. Wilson, however, I agree that. Go on about Bruno first before I got on to Wilson.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, just thinking about the transfer window, like, shutting, because if we were to drop Bruno, like, you know, his agent will be on the bloody every club. No, I'm messing. He obviously won't, but like, yeah, transfer window shuts, doesn't it? On does it shut before the game or after?
It's on the 1st, isn't it? So that'll be Friday night.
Yeah.
Right. Is it like midnight between the 31st and the 1st?
I think so.
Or is it midnight between the 1st and the 2nd?
I don't know, Thursday, Friday. Obviously the Champions League draws on Thursday, that's another bit of news. Yeah. But
so we don't need to worry about, like, if we drop him for the Brighton game, it's not like you can get a move away afterwards. Unless Saudi teams might still be able to come in and sign somebody, but I don't know. We're obviously joking. We don't obviously think that Bruno's that type of player to just, if he gets dropped, he just downs tools. But like, he is a passionate player, and
I think it could be good for him. You know, it could like. I think he is the sort of player that he is giving 100% all the time anyway, but I don't know, it's a weird one because of the situation with what happened on social media, but especially like as we're away from home, it might not be the worst thing for him to start him on the bench and then bring him on in the game. But I just don't see anyone really, like, Longstaff's not quite up to things yet. I don't think Anderson will start the game. Obviously you've got like Lewis Miley, he's not going to come in from after pre-season's not even had a sniff, so he's not going to be coming in.
Willock's not ready yet.
Willock's not fit, so
do we? Yeah, I was going to say on Willock, are we missing Willock, like, right now?
Yeah.
Like, do you think, like, in go back to the Liverpool game to a degree, because I don't think it would have mattered much in the City game, but I think had we had a fully fit Joe Willock available to come on, like, yeah, I think things would have been a bit different. And yeah, if we're talking about selections for this Brighton game with Willock being fit, I'd be wanting to see him in there. Like, for me, I do think we're missing him.
Yeah, I think we're missing him. But then I've just watched the 3rd episode of the doc, so I don't know how much that's kind of affecting my memory of Willock, because obviously, like, you see all the highlights in the doc. But no, I do think we're missing it. Like, it's a sneaky pace as well.
Nothing sneaky about him anymore. Like, everyone knows he's fucking rapid, and it's not just out of possession, carrying the ball forward. He's so quick, driving with the ball at his feet. I think we are.
I think in a game where we're looking at counter attack, like, potentially we will be against Brighton, then that is something that we could really deal with. And obviously, he's not fit, is he? I know he was back in training, but he's not training with the team yet, is he? As far as I'm aware. So I'd be surprised if he's even on the bench. But with do you think Lascelles will be in the matchday squad? I don't see you don't think?
No, I think the club.
I don't mean the starting 11. I mean, you don't think the club will? Because from the videos, I don't really see what he's done wrong.
I think that the club will wait to just see like how the initial police investigation will go. Is what I reckon will be the case.
Because with Botman injured as well, centre backs wise, we're a bit late.
Yeah, we are. But
and
I don't know.
Lascelles is linked with a move away as well. So do you think there might be some action in terms of the centre back position before the end of the window?
It's something that we've talked about so many times in pre-season that we don't feel the depth on that right side is there for sure. So again, though, like Eddie was pretty adamant after Lewis Hall signing that was pretty much going to be it. But unless there was like a big injury or something that would force their hand. But yeah, maybe like depends on how the police view things, because they might think like that Lascelles was like at fault for matters, or like I don't know. But yeah, don't know what you guys think on that.
I'd be surprised if he was dropped for that reason. Like obviously when Joe Linton had his drink driving case, he wasn't dropped from that, and Eddie Howe quite staunchly defended him when he was asked about it in the press, saying that he's made a mistake, he's been dealt with internally, but he was straight back on the bench. So I'd be surprised if something like that with Lascelles, where he hasn't been charged yet, there's nothing saying that he's like at massive fault. Like the reports very much seem like he's been assaulted effectively and was defending himself.
Yeah.
So and it doesn't help that we are light at the back. So I think if you combine those with how we treat Joe Linton, which drink driving is definitely a bigger problem than having a scrap, I think, in the street. So I think Lascelles will, if he's fit, I think he will be on the bench.
Yeah.
I hope he is, because otherwise we are scraping the barrel a little bit. I don't know if Crafty's back in full training yet either, who obviously has done a job at right-sided centre-back before.
I don't want to see that though.
No, I have no idea. Yeah.
Especially against a team like Brighton, who's attacking is pretty good. Where do you see them lining up to try and target our lack of pace at the back, especially if Botman's not there, who's probably our quickest, and he's not even that
He's
quick.
not even that quick.
So do you think it's one where we're probably going to see João Pedro start?
I think we could see him start, but I could also see us, as we've mentioned, playing a bit of a deeper line than usual, so trying to not give them that space around the back, because if we do play a high line, well, I think we could get absolutely killed, to be honest. Especially if we've got Burn centre half alongside Shaw, who isn't the quickest. I wouldn't be a big fan of seeing Pedro, even Evan Ferguson, and Mitchell running at them. I think we could be in big trouble if that's the case. But
you got to remember as well, Burn knows Brighton quite well, so
he does now.
I don't know how much things will have changed. Obviously, different manager, some new faces and stuff, but their kind of style of play and stuff seems to have remained pretty consistent since he left. So him being at centre back could be benefit to us. But yeah, I think if you guys don't have any other players you want to specifically talk about going into this one, we can move on to the predictions.
One thing I was going to touch on Wilson, I know you mentioned he could start. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because, as you're saying, he's been very quiet the last couple of games. However, it's against Liverpool, it's against Man City. Like, he's best when he's sort of running at players, and in both those games, he hasn't really had the space to do that. Wilson, like, he's good when used as a target man, but against Duncan Webster, I just think that would be the wrong approach to take. I think, as you're saying about counter-attacking football, I think Isak is the one that you want to have both running and behind, and also, if we are breaking, running at defenders. Like, he strikes the fear of God in defenders when he runs at them.
Yeah.
Like, he could be twisting.
He's got Velcro boots on him.
Like proper.
So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Wilson start, but I'd be a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a good point, to be fair. Alright. Let's see how confident we're feeling then going into this one. I'll kick us off. And I'm gonna go for 2-2. Not confident at all, to be honest. I'm a bit worried about us at the back. And to be honest, even scoring 2 goals, I'm a bit not that confident. But yeah, I'll go 2-2.
Yeah, I don't want to end up being like Jord, who predicts a defeat and gets kicked off the pod. But I'm kind of like in two minds on whether or not it is going to end up being that. But yeah, I'm not confident of a win, so I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm gonna say 1-1.
Expecting goals then. Well,
you can say 0-0 if you want.
I'm not, because Brighton have had the most XG of any club so far this season, and the third worst XG conceded. So I think there's going to be goals, and I'll catch you later because I'm getting kicked off the pod. I reckon we might lose 2-1. I think we're going to struggle with Botman. I really do.
Yeah,
and they're in good form. They're playing at home. Obviously, we were very lucky to get a point there last season.
we've not had a good record down there, Blake, against them. I know.
I think we will struggle.
We tanned them at home like last season comfortably, but in terms
the last
of
time Bruno scored, actually,
that could have actually been it was.
If only you'd remembered that in the last order.
I've had some time to remember now, haven't I?
In terms of our record down there is shocking. So I'm not gonna hate on your Dose for predicting a defeat. Put it that way.
But it's been nice having you on, mate. So.
All the best, lads.
With obviously a lot of people putting the result or like coming from in a winning position, 10 men, to losing the game, a lot of people are putting the responsibility at Eddie's door. A lot of people on social media, well, not a lot of people, but there's a few strong voices saying, you know, he's not the right man for the job, which any proper Newcastle fan thinks is absolutely absurd. But do you think, should we lose this game, there will be a bit of pressure, maybe from outside the club, from the media? Do you think people will start stirring things up about Eddie's security at the club? Because if we do lose this game, it's been a bad start.
It has, but we also had statistically one of the hardest run of games.
The hardest by quite a stretch.
So it would be extremely harsh to then start laying into Eddie that much, and you know what we've seen on the series, like it would be hard for the board to turn on Eddie, like, because the way they absolutely love him and rave about him would be a bit of a massive turnaround to then for them to start questioning him. there will be some like pundits out there who are a bit ill-informed, who might jump on the bandwagon and start saying this and that, but
most of them then.
Well, exactly. I've to be fair, like I think, like Gary Neville, I think after the game, was quite good about it, and he was saying that, yeah, we will come back strong. Like, obviously bad result and everything, but like he doesn't expect us to completely drop off, and that we've had our moment in the sun. Like and so there are some out there who are going to be fair. I can't believe like there's sections of our fan base that are that like reactive to just, and I just hope it's just bandwagon fans who've like jumped on to the team in the last 12 months who are saying this, and not like seasoned fans like we are, because yeah, it's embarrassing otherwise. Yeah, he's had a bad game, a couple of games, Eddie, but he'll learn from them hopefully, and yeah, come back stronger.
He's not particularly had bad games. It's just bad moments in games, bad periods in games. It's not like we've played terribly against City. It's not like we've played terribly against Liverpool. Like, it's bad moments that I've like fucked with. Yeah, tabloids will talk shit. People on Twitter will talk shit. They'll look at the table and see us in the bottom half and talk shit. It's all bollocks. Like, it's so early in the season. The 4 clubs that we've played or will have played first 4 games could all finish top 6 easily, and it wouldn't surprise us. Like, and with like Eddie's like changes, like some of that might actually be out of Eddie's hands. If his sports scientists are saying Gordon can last 70 minutes, Tonali can last 70 minutes, Isaac can last 70 minutes, you can't play them more than that, because like they're getting into the red level of like that they're gonna like have an injury or something like that. Then that could be almost taken out of Eddie's hands in a way. You don't know what happens with the sports scientists. I know like there's certain clubs like Liverpool as well who have like hard and fast rules with like not burning players out and stuff like that. So people don't even think of that when they think of like, oh, he's taking the best 3 players off. Like, you know the amount of ground that like players like Gordon, Tonali cover could just be part of that as well. And getting fresh legs on against 10 men, like, we're being reactionary because we're lost. Like, anyone else would say, fucking get fresh legs on, like, we'll run at them. But it's the fact that we're lost where people are up in uproar. So take it with a pinch of salt. As Paige said, take the idiots of this fan base, which should be like 1%, if that, of the vocal minority, majority, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. Very small amount of fans are making the biggest noise.
Yeah, always the way though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. That's why, like, I've seen Liverpool fans all over my Twitter this week talking about how arrogant Newcastle fans are and talking shit and stuff like that. They're saying the 1% on Twitter who are just fucking idiots, really.
Yeah.
And any like overreaction to Eddie Howe, like, just get the fuck, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's a good point you make about the sports scientist, but also we've just been talking about this game, Brighton. You've got to remember this is a tough game, and we're playing like in that Liverpool game where he makes that subs. We're playing against 10 men. We're 1-0 up, and Harvey Barnes, Longstaff, Wilson coming on. You expect those players to do a job and to carry that game through, if not actually get the second, third goal. So it's only in hindsight you look at it and you go, I mean, I know people were saying at the time, like, Tonali and Gordon, like, they were 2 best players. Why is he bringing them off? But there is other reasons, like you said, like, that we aren't privy to. But also, like, yeah, there might be our best players, but he wants the best players to be fresh for Brighton as well. So
yeah,
I think, like, it's very. I'm sure, like, he's been replaying it in his mind since, and like maybe he wouldn't do it again. So you could say like, you know, he has made a mistake, but I think people are taking it way too far of like how much of a mistake it was. And like, obviously, like we're saying, he's got so much in the bank already, especially with the fans and the owners. It's not actually a bad thing either if the external media and everything start to discount us, because I'd rather be the team that gives the surprise package than the one that is expected to make Champions League, because it just takes the pressure off that little bit. But in terms of this game, I really hope we don't get beat. Like, just even a draw, just to get another point on the board at this stage would be really good.
4 points from those first 4 games will be a fantastic result coming out of it.
Yeah,
especially ahead of the international break as well.
Yeah, just to kind of stop the rot a little bit, so it's not 3 defeats on the bounce before the break. But obviously a win would be amazing away to Brighton. Well, yeah, I guess we'll see. Anything else, lads?
Just a shout out on the old fantasy team for the pods team. Probably less said on the matter. Less said on the matter, probably, but yeah, we've fallen away a bit.
We need to get some subs in. I think we should have 2 free transfers, shouldn't we? 'Cause I don't think we made any yet. So yeah,
we'll let our resident expert sort that out.
If you want to join the league or take a look at our team, the link will be in the description. You can just hit the link and your team will be added into our league, where it sounds like you won't be coming last, at least anyway. But yeah, if you're still watching this, guys, listen to it. Thanks for joining us. In the next one, we'll be going over the Brighton game, seeing what had happened, going over the result, hopefully talking about 3 points. Please do like the episode, it helps us out a lot with the algorithms and stuff. Give us a rating if you listen to this on a podcast platform. You can subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you're alerted every time we upload, and join us for the next one. Catch you then.